Welcome to the future of money. Come with us on this journey into the world of Bitcoin, blockchain and crypto projects. You're going to meet the trailblazers. These people have changed my life and they may very well do the same for you. Hello, Vinzen. You're making me jealous. Where are you?
This time you see me in Krabi, Sean. I'm in Krabi province, South Thailand. Beautiful, isn't it? That's the scene you want to see.
Stunning.
Right now. So how are things on your side? Where are you?
At the moment, I'm, Singapore right now. I'll be coming to see you, I think, in about 2 weeks maximum. So looking at where you are at the moment, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it happens to be rainy season, but we're getting a lot of sunshine. So it's really perfect staying in this nice old style Thai house, wooden house on stilts in the jungle here. And behind me, I don't know if you can see it or hear it, is the beach.
Oh. I might have to bring my trip forward a wee bit, I think.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely.
What do we got on the show today? I want to share the price with you all soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to know what's happening in the markets, and we'll certainly be covering that. I think it's a really good idea if we could also have a bit of a talk about your methodologies, your style of trading. Obviously, what we're looking to do with this content is a lot of discussion around the fundamentals, but obviously also with yourself, the TA, the technical analysis of charts. We're really offering a product here where you've got me asking the silly questions, the ones that you probably want to ask somebody. So it's a good opportunity for people new to Bitcoin, to crypto, to follow our content. We're really going to get you up to speed on how to read charts, what trading is all about, and obviously from my point of view, really discussing the fundamental analysis of the space. I live and breathe it. So do you, VZ. So we're really looking forward to bringing you lots of content moving forward here. So look, I think what would be nice is if you could share with everybody where you are and how they can get in contact with you, and obviously the courses that you're offering. I can't wait to get over there and get stuck into one myself.
Yes. Okay. So can I ask you to pass the camera over to me, and I'll also do a screen share.
Absolutely.
At the same time. What I need to share here with everybody, so now that you got me on the screen, maybe people can see where I am. This is where I actually present the course. And it's generally about 5 people come over at the same time for 8 days. I sort of run it from a Saturday to the next Saturday so that people can skip 5 days of work if that's what they're doing. They need to be at work on Monday to Friday. They can take 5 days holiday, come to Thailand. I bring them from Krabi Airport or Phuket Airport, wherever they land. Bring them here by speedboat or taxi and then longtail boat. Book them into their own house with their own kitchen and bathroom, everything private, luxury, old style Thai wooden house in a resort that's built in a national park. And people can come and we do daily lessons after some meditation and exercise in the morning. People come and sit. And we gather together in a hall and we start learning about the market. How does the market move? What are the historical precedents, not just for Bitcoin, but for all markets? Because something that's really important to realize about markets is that there is a specific form that the market takes. And we don't have to do that research and find the form. It's already been done for us. And the man who did the work is called Ralph Elliott, and he did this work in the 1940s and published a book called the 1930s, correction, during the Depression. He wrote a book called The Way of Principles. And once we covered that and then start looking at modern charts and the how the same principles can be seen in modern charts and in Bitcoin, we get into a means of analyzing the market, seeing the trend of market, seeing when the market is not trending, which is so important, Sean. There's those times when you think is going to do something, but it ends up not doing anything, and you end up wasting ammunition because you're buying into what you think is going to be an advance, and then it falls back, and it's in fact just in a long-term consolidation. So it's very important to spot those moments as well, and know that you can be busy with other things until a trend emerges. Okay, so to sort of share with people the content of the course, and how they can, what's presented and how they can get in touch with me if they want to book the course in the future. I'll be offering it for the next year at least, once a month. The trading camp is what I call it, and 5 participants over 8 days, and I present you with 5 revolutions in your trading. And I believe that all 5 of these things I show you is all you need to confidently and profitably trade. Not just while you're here, while you're under my influence, but once you leave, you'll be a member of my website. You'll be a permanent, lifelong member of my website. You'll always be able to contact me, and you will have access to this trading method. You'll understand it and implement it. You'll know exactly what to do, and to do this for the rest of your life. And in fact, you don't want to trade for the rest of your life. You want to trade for so many years as it takes you to turn 0.1 Bitcoin into several million US dollars, or 1 Bitcoin, several $1 million. It's just a few times that you've got to double your account. And I'll show you how to do that. So the basis of what I teach is Elliott Wave and Fibonacci, which is the first revolution you're trading, because those are the keys to market behavior. We look at a provable trading method, which is something I hardly share online or in public, because that is sort of my trade secret and the thing that I feel is best for person to person.
Vince,
So for that, you would have come to me.
What level are the people that are coming to these trading camps at? I mean, obviously in our discussions we're going to go through the basics. You're really going to help me get up to speed and not repeat the mistakes I made in 2017. Is this, obviously people are going to get a good insight into what you're offering here over the coming weeks, but who's coming typically to your courses? What level are they at?
The people, thanks for asking that, because that kind of clarifies something that is on the website, but not clear to many people. Your level of trading should be at intermediate level. In other words, not a beginner. So I'm not able to sufficiently train somebody and coach and mentor them in a trading method when they're not already familiar with market concepts, with candles, with basic indicators, with how to use a trading platform like BitMEX or Bitstamp or whatever it is that they're trading on or practice.
Well, I'm hoping you can get me up to intermediate level over the coming weeks, so people can watch that evolution.
I recommend that people go to Baby Pips. It's a website called babypips.com and read through that, because they've got an education section that explains key market concepts, the M2 money supply, how markets move, what is forex trading, what is commodities trading, what is stock trading, what are the basic patterns that the market.
Yeah, I mean we'll cover a lot of this ourselves, obviously.
Yes, we will cover this for beginners, and I believe when we put out a course later in the year, people will be able to learn that from us, from this channel, the basics of training.
Yeah.
But as for my course specifically, people should already be at intermediate level, not just beginning.
Vincent, I'm excited to make content with you over the coming weeks, because obviously I follow a whole heap of guys in your space. I think that the content you've been making with Tone, Willie, and Tyler previously was just some of the best I've seen. You guys are really top of your game, and you've made some absolutely accurate calls. So hopefully you keep that up. No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure and no sweat. It's going to be so enjoyable, and in this kind of era of Bitcoin where we are at this state of the world, I think it's really possible for so many people to change their lives and to achieve independence, financial independence, provided, and they can, let me complete the sentence, it's possible for people to achieve financial independence via market trading.
Yeah.
Yet, yeah. However, they have to have a trading method. They have to have money management skills, because without those things, they're going to lose their money. Part of learning to trade is losing money, because clearly one learns from your mistakes. And when you make a mistake in the market, it costs you money, right? So,
yes, I know all about
that. We all know about that. It's a necessary rudiment and torture part of trading to really make you cautious and to look after your resources. So let me just finish off on that website, because that's actually the next thing I mentioned. Where was I? I was on the trading camp, and this is the next point I wanted to mention, that once you've got a trading method in place, you want to know about money management, because that is what's going to keep you in the market. That's what's going to make you lose small. And when you do win, to win big. That is a function of money management, not a function of any indicator or because you're smart or you've got a good gut feel.
Yeah.
It is purely a scientific and mathematical process of determining what portion of your account do you use on each and every bet that you make in the market. And Sean, this is for people who are doing leverage trading and people who have not necessarily got the time or inclination for sort of high-risk leverage trading.
Yeah.
People like you who are buying and holding. This same strategy applies to any trader in the market, whether leveraged or non-leveraged. Your buy and holder will learn equally as much coming to this. We mentioned risk management and the fact that you'll be able to enter and exit trades with precision. There's no question marks or gut feelings or emotions involved. It's just a mechanical process, and I show people this step by step. So on this website, cryptocurrency.net, the workshops are outlined day by day what you'll be doing, the venue where I'm currently sitting, and the pricing is discussed. If you the course is currently not priced at 1 Bitcoin because Bitcoin's price is too high. When I made these prices, Bitcoin was at 3,000. So people are welcome to contact me, and the price will be at least a half of a Bitcoin, not 1 Bitcoin. So just so you know that we can negotiate a price.
Well, we're going to get to the price of Bitcoin in a minute, so I get.
Yeah. So people can come and choose a date that they want to participate and make an inquiry about that. So the location is shown, and there's a contact form at the bottom of the page. Okay, so just to have shown everybody what's available and what we're doing, do you perhaps want to take the screen again, and we get into some discussion about those topics you mentioned earlier? A lot of interesting stuff happening.
Yeah, there is. Look, I suppose the biggies at the moment we've had Backed, which finally looks like it's launching. I think 23rd of September is the date in the diary for that. Backed obviously is run by the people who own the New York Stock Exchange. So it's really, a lot of the pundits out there at the moment are calling this the biggest bull signal Bitcoin's ever had. You and I put some content out a few days ago, which was, look, I've had some really nice comments on that, which is fantastic. Thank you to those people, where we discussed the institutional plays in Bitcoin, what Bitcoin meant to us. And obviously we looked at Tyler Jenks's analysis of a Bitcoin that would potentially be worth $100 million US, and obviously a lot of people were quite shocked by that. But to get to that figure, just if you haven't seen that content, go and have a look at it. But ultimately, that figure has come about by multiplying the current debt that we have in the global economy by the supply of Bitcoin, which would bring you to a $100 million Bitcoin. Now, a lot of people have leapt in here. Obviously, as you know, Vince, you've been here right through a bull market and well before that as well. But there's an influx of all these expert traders that seem to be popping up on YouTube at the moment. And I would say to people, we're not here giving you financial advice. You've got to make your own decisions, but be very careful. There are there's literally 10 new guys a day from what I can see popping up. As supposed trading experts. So do your homework. Vinzen, it's a real pleasure to be making content with him. He's a very well-known guy in the space, so I'm very excited to be doing these shows with you and really look forward to coming and doing a course with you and beautiful Krabby. But coming back to the news at the moment, Backed has launched. This obviously is a physically settled futures market for Bitcoin. It will make it easier for institutional plays. Vinzen, in the chat that we posted a couple of days ago, I think it'd be interesting for you to maybe tell the audience about what Bitcoin means to you. In that chat, you I don't think you seem so keen on institutional adoption of Bitcoin and using it as a backstop against the looming debt crisis. I think you seem to be more in favor of Bitcoin really being used by people. Could you maybe tell the viewers what Bitcoin really means to you? I mean, are you a maximalist? Tell us a bit about this.
You know what? I'm always like, I always like to not include myself in a camp, to sort of associate myself with a ideology or to run with a posse, like I'm with a maximalist and they're my friends. But I think what you're pointing out is close to the truth in terms that I believe, in terms of the fact that Bitcoin is the king of the cryptos. It's the first and the biggest network. It's acknowledged to be the world's largest supercomputer. It's got the biggest brain trust in its developer community, which is a 24/7 development effort, volunteer effort that constantly fixes bugs, that's constantly on the work, sort of on the treadmill, fixing bugs, improving Bitcoin, making long-term planning, and putting those pieces of code and those plans into drawn up Bitcoin improvement protocol plans that guys like you and me can go and review, and that other coders can review.
Yeah. Do you trade other cryptos?
It's so beautiful. I do, in fact. I don't own any other cryptos, but if there is a compelling technical case to trade a crypto that I trade most often is Ethereum, actually. And I like to trade Ethereum to the upside because I believe, it shows clear indications when it's going to move higher, and when it does, it's actually more profitable. Just the mathematics of the trade of how BitMEX presents these instruments, it's more profitable to trade Ethereum to the upside than it is to trade Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I use Bitcoin to trade Ethereum's price chart, and that works for me. How about you? Any altcoins in your collection?
Okay, so going back to 2000.
Well, you don't want to say. You don't want to tell us, right?
I mean, look, from a trading point of view, I've made a conscious decision to learn the ropes from you. I could have done a hell of a lot better in 2007. Not to say I didn't do relatively well. I wasn't playing with a huge amount of capital to begin with, but yeah, as far as percentage gains go, I did well. Could have done a lot better. And for me, I think really the content that I'm looking forward to making with you will take people who are feeling new to the space. I'm looking forward to helping to educate them on what I've learned by being completely immersed in the space for the last few years as a Bitcoin site. Now, I've not really written about or promoted, definitely haven't promoted anything outside of Bitcoin. I'm very proud of that fact. But that's not to say that with these coin splits, hard forks is possibly not the correct term, but I have hard fork that's then resulted in a coin split, which has given us Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. Lately, I've actually taken quite an interest in the Bitcoin SV project, community, whatever you want to call it. I think there's some interesting stuff going on there. It's really helped my understanding of what decentralization is and many people's opinions, how the development actually works, how mining actually works. And I'm looking forward to maybe helping to educate people in these aspects. Obviously, you're going to bring a lot of trading expertise to the table. So I think for people new to this space, that's really what you're going to see from this channel. We'll educate you on the origin story of Bitcoin, how we've ended up with these different Bitcoins, what they are. I like to think that I'm very impartial. Obviously, I've been very much a Bitcoiner. I probably haven't covered Bitcoin Cash as much as I should have. I've certainly got my knowledge of that project, the people involved, and most recently Bitcoin SV. In fact, I was at a Bitcoin SV meetup last night. There's some interesting things happening here. So I'm looking forward to educating people in these respects.
Well, fantastic. You're certainly the right guy to do that. And I'm interested in some of the things that you're going to report back. For instance, the SV, it's not in our meeting notes for today, but can we perhaps schedule it in for like next week or something? Because I'm really interested in what's happening there from a conceptual point of view to see and you as a journalist, you get exposure to all these coins and all these projects, and I'm really interested to learn from you, because I couldn't, being in front of the screen so often and teaching these workshops, I don't have the time to go to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're the guy that's going to tell me.
Let's do that. So look, if you're new to the space or even if you've been here for a while, I over the coming weeks, so please subscribe to this channel. We'll talk. Obviously, we're going to take people on a bit of a journey in the markets, how to trade, whether trading is in fact right for them. And from my point of view, I'm looking forward to discussing what I see as the pros and cons of the various Bitcoins. I actually have some really good content that I'll be posting shortly. I went to interview Craig Wright fairly recently.
All right. Is he completely mad?
No,
he's not. Is he like raving mad? Is he constantly like, really?
No, he's not. No. Look, obviously he's a figure that a lot of people within the space some of them seem to have a real hatred for the guy. The reality for me is that, he has posted a lot of content recently, but if you go back and have a look at some of the talks this guy was giving back in 2015, this is no dummy. He gets portrayed as a fraud and a scam, and I would, some of the better. I've noticed that a lot of the very intelligent people in the space certainly don't attack the guy's knowledge of Bitcoin. He's only ever really attacked for putting his hand up and saying, "I wrote the white paper. I am Satoshi."
And you know what? Just in defense, just sort of to stand with my one foot in the camp of those people who are accusing him of being a fraud. He did do some tricks. He tried some tricks to prove that he was Satoshi to Gavin Andresen, who was Bitcoin developer in 2016 at that time, by sort of doing a flick-flack trick with a public key to say that this is how I prove that I'm Satoshi. And Gavin Andresen came out of that private meeting and said, "Oh my God, it is actually Satoshi." But then somebody very quickly pointed out that's not a proof. Not that Andresen should be an expert in cryptography or public key cryptography, but he couldn't see the scam. And then somebody else pointed out, and a few other cryptographers said, yes, in fact, it is not proof. which then
So
implies
I'm taking it you don't think he's
dishonesty.
Satoshi.
Yeah, he didn't prove that he's Satoshi, and his supposed proof, his attempt to prove was insincere. It was dishonest. So just to defend that camp, because
we're gonna have some good debates, obviously, on this one. I think.
Yeah. I would like to learn more.
Sure. Well, actually,
Yeah.
hasn't it turned out to be some guy from Pakistan in the last couple of days?
I just saw a headline where Jeff Garzik, who's another sort of faded out Bitcoin developer, points out that this guy's writing style is not like Satoshi.
Who the guy in the last few days?
The Bilal somebody. Yeah.
I haven't really. I haven't looked.
So there's always reputation. There's always. Like,
I haven't looked too closely at that one.
Yeah. I don't think Satoshi. He will never reveal himself, man. He just can't. He would bring down Bitcoin, and he would be everything that Bitcoin is not. You know?
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, one thing I find a little bit annoying is, when you stick your face out publicly, like what I suppose we're doing right now, the trolling and the abuse that often happens within this community is, there's a few of these YouTubers that have really attacked right, and I think some of them are way out of line. Whether or not the guy is Satoshi or not, there's some cruel scumbags out there. There's a woman from Australia who's pretty well known, and some of her content, she's like this cackling, some cheering person waiting for a guillotine to fall. I really don't like her, actually. Look, ultimately this guy's embroiled in a court case at the moment where the family of his best friend has got him in court, and they're basically claiming that they want half of the Bitcoin wallets that they feel that he has. So it's a really bizarre situation where you've got some of the commentators in the space calling him a fraud over some documentation that they're saying he's doctored and so forth. But it doesn't stack up, because on one hand they're saying, well, hang on, this guy is defrauding his old business partner of half the value of these Bitcoin wallets. But if he is in possession of these wallets, then that would be a really clear indication that he came up with Bitcoin. So it doesn't make sense. People, some of the people that are attacking this guy just need to calm down a wee bit and get a little more. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on from that subject today.
Well, the subject of trolling online is.
Oh, I'm about to troll somebody though.
Yeah, in this community on Twitter, in the chat boxes, in the public comments, people tend to become really vicious, and I think it's both a function of online communication, and where you're sort of you don't have liability because you're just an anonymous guy saying something, and people also in this space tend to be sort of individualists and of strong opinion and anti government or anti fiat, and therefore there's a lot of sort of anger and there's a lot of emotion, and that's why the price chart moves the way it does.
Well, there is, and obviously that was mucking around here. There's billions, trillions of dollars at stake, and people saying anything against a project that could impact somebody's finances is a dangerous game. From my point of view, I want it to be clear that I love Bitcoin. I've created 3 years of content out of my own pocket. I have not taken a penny from any ICO. I've not promoted anything outside of Bitcoin. This is still self-funded. I really, though, it's sort of a dangerous one for me, because if I start talking about Bitcoin SV, all of a sudden I'm hated by by the Bitcoin community, and vice versa. So it's a bit of a no-win.
You know, there will always be those haters and those harsh critics and those screaming prima donnas. But journalism needs to report everything, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
We are doing this free of charge for anybody to watch, and guys like Tone did that, and Adriel Goat and Pilot did that. A lot of people are providing content, and we're giving them a talk show here, and we're doing it in our own pocket, and we're earning Bitcoin, right? This is since 2013. I was earning Bitcoin. That's all I earned since then, and we are actually the living proof of the concept that there is a use case, that we're both earning and spending Bitcoin. And it's been great through the years for me to be part of this open source project, because I come from an open source background where Bitcoin is the epitome of open source. It's the conclusion, the natural conclusion of open source. And this kind of concludes to the point that where we started, that I believe that Bitcoin is a genie that's come out the bottle, and it's not going to go back in. It cannot be stopped. And it's the mightiest crypto out there. And that's why I prefer everything in Bitcoin. And I'm not going to get into the scams and the shit coins and all of that right now.
I'm going to bring a scam up in a minute. I've got to get it off my chest. But I just want to quickly say one thing on that does kind of annoy me in the space. I mean, we're not looking for a handout here, but the reality is that there's a lot of people that have done very well in the Bitcoin space, and sometimes they can be some of the worst trolls. I just don't. What worries me about the future of Bitcoin is these people need to be supporting the ecosystem more than they are. If you look at how many developers are actually working on Bitcoin, it's not a huge amount. You've got companies like Blockstream and one or two others that actually employ some core devs. But when you look at the GitHub, how many people are actually have commits there, it's not a huge amount. When I came into the space, I assumed it was thousands, but it's not.
Over the years, it's been thousands, because part of the reason, I guess, is that Bitcoin is really hard to code.
Yeah, true.
It's hard to understand. Nobody totally understands every aspect of it. There's so many teams on different parts of it, and it's a dynamic system. Okay, the code that's released is stable and it's working for us. And it's never been attacked. It's been attacked but never brought down. 99.9% uptime, right? So it's because it's difficult to code, man.
But don't you think that the community should be a little more coordinated in helping grow that dev community? I mean, even for a dev to find out, how do you get involved? Half of them don't. It's not exactly clear and easy for people to come and get involved. And obviously, we'd like to help out in that respect and show people a path to get involved, and we will do that. But I just,
can I quickly add that the open source has always been a voluntary thing, which is why it works better than the proprietary software world. Your bugs get fixed quicker. The work done for the sake of merit, not for remuneration, and that's part of the sort of the moral incentive that people have to make Bitcoin as excellent as they can. That's one aspect, and that comes to us from Bitcoin being open source. However, what you're mentioning, and you've mentioned it, you and I have had this point come up a few times in our conversations, the issue of support, community support and community reinvestment in this thing that's so important.
It's not great in Bitcoin, I'm afraid to say.
It's not there, and I don't think the time is right for it to be there, or I don't think it will actually ever become very big. I don't know what you think, but for me, it's a case that for most people in Bitcoin, it's a matter of speculation and wealth and greed, and not what can I do for Bitcoin, but what can Bitcoin do for me? And as long as that mentality goes on, which I think most people have, we're going to see this kind of dynamic where people just make demands and scream and shout and speculate Bitcoin, but not actually use it, and therefore have no incentive to either put their own effort in or to put money in to push it further. But certainly, I mean, Blockstream is an example of a collective of a company that is doing so much for Bitcoin.
Yep, true. So, obviously, I sort of see the future battleground, and let's not beat around the bush. It is a battleground. You've got an end chain and a Blockstream, which I don't think there's too many friends between those camps. They are businesses. They're key players in the ecosystem, and will obviously people that are new and coming into the space will help educate on how where they fit in to a decentralized what's the word I'm looking for? Decentralized structure.
A decentralized entity. Like,
yeah.
Can I just, for the sake of new viewers, say that Blockstream is a company led by Adam Back, created by Adam Back. It's based in San Francisco or Silicon Valley. I'm not
They're
sure.
all over the place. I mean, I actually had a bromance with their CTO, which was hilariously. I went to interview Craig Wright, and then I got invited on a Mediterranean cruise, and literally I bumped into Tone Vase just as I was getting on the boat, and he was with another guy who turned out to be the CTO of Blockstream, and I didn't know at the time, and obviously my first conversation with him was the fact that I'd just been to meet the Bitcoin SV camp and interview Craig Wright. It was just a look of horror on his face, and that was an interesting week. I hung out with this guy, and sort of that for me was a good education on exactly who Blockstream are. I wasn't fully up to speed on what exactly they do.
The guy you're referring to is Samson Mao, right?
No, it wasn't Samson. No.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, it was Lawrence. I don't know
somebody else.
Yeah,
Lawrence.
Sorry. Great guy.
A different role. Right. So can you also mentioned, this Blockstream company is really good. They funding, they're enabling a lot of Bitcoin's development. The Lightning network is partially funded by them and sort of pushed by them. A lot of other side chains to blockchain protocol layers, they're developing that. They employ some of the best developers out there. You also mentioned N-chain, and you said there's no love between the two. Who are N-chain for the viewers?
Well, so I suppose the basic way I would describe it is N-chain would be to Blockstream. N-chain are to Bitcoin SV what I would say Blockstream are to Bitcoin. So it's
right. So is it led by Craig Wright? Is it funded by him?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So they're probably a similar size organization. I met a bunch of their engineering team in Canada a couple of months ago, and look, I just, I was really impressed by the quality of the engineers, the attitude of the people involved in that project. I think what people sort of forget in these warring factions is ultimately, most of these people all know each other. They were all working together on Bitcoin, and obviously, for anyone coming into this space that's new, we'll give you a bit of a lesson in how this has all happened, but I guess the way to picture it is most of the brains that are in crypto, even Vitalik from Ethereum included, these were all Bitcoiners, and right. Obviously we've had various hard forks and coin splits, and we've ended up with a multitude of other projects, thousands. But for me, with the website that I've been running, or the media I've been running, it's been a Bitcoin site. But what I'd like to do, Vinzen, over the coming weeks and months is really help people understand the origin story and how we've ended up with these different projects. And I've identified a group of guys that I actually met at that resort we were staying in. I'm hopefully heading off to their conference. They've got a blockchain that's it's sitting around and on coin market cap, it's only around sort of 80 or sort of fluctuates between 70th and 90th position. but there's some really intelligent people out there, some amazing projects. So I'm not an altcoin guy or shitcoiner or whatever you want to call it, but that's not to say that there aren't some really special projects out there. And I'd like to think that the fact that I've just been a Bitcoin site for 3 years, that if I am talking about another project, then that I've done my homework and there's something to it. And I'm sure that probably is the same for you as well. There are some special people out there, and I'd like to highlight some of them over the coming months. So if, for your average punter, that's possibly a good investment opportunity for you. Although, disclaimer, I don't know if we've already done this yet, but this isn't financial advice. You've got to make your own decisions with anything to do with an investment. This is two lads having a chat here. Don't take this as financial advice. But it's a fascinating space. It's only getting more interesting. And for me, learning about especially the Bitcoin SV camp. Look, it's an insight into what is facing Bitcoin in the future, because it's a 1 megabyte block on Bitcoin. Next year, the block reward halves. We'll explain to people what all this means as we in future episodes. But ultimately, I think all eyes are on what's happening as this block cap comes off in February next year. This is going to be interesting. For me, what we've got happening now is, to a certain degree, the science experiment, if you want to view it that way, which has been going on for 10 years. I think it's been a huge success.
For sure.
Now we're going into what I would describe as what's also being a social experiment for the last 10 years. But I think that becomes much more of the case now. And what I worry about for Bitcoin is the lack of coordination around marketing, the lack of support for really getting quality, more developers working in the space. It's just, I just don't think it's good enough. It could be so much better. Now, if you have somebody like Enchain,
wait, what you're saying that? You're saying that when you say that it's not that good, it could be much better. What are you referring to?
Well,
Bitcoin,
okay, so obviously Bitcoin, everybody knows Bitcoin because it's got that network effect. It's out there in the public consciousness. But I think it would be naive of a lot of people who just take that as a given that that's always going to be the case. So if you have a very coordinated marketing push by competing blockchains, and okay, it is decentralized. There's supposedly nobody behind Bitcoin, but there's still there are companies that are building on this, and to a large degree, a lot of these companies disappeared, in my opinion, because the block size has remained at a megabit, or okay, with SegWit or block weight up to 4, but you're not buying a coffee or a beer with Bitcoin, and that's sort of when I came into the space. It was all about using Bitcoin. So I'm fascinated to see how things develop over the next year. I think so much of this is going to be decided in the next 12 months. And a lot of that for me, I think marketing is important. I think education is important. And I think Bitcoin does run that danger of, at the moment, it's what everyone knows. But that, in a couple of years' time, that could be a different.
Yes and no.
I think Bitcoin has, but
No, you make a valid point. Many people in the space, many people who, especially when they first come into crypto, they say, well, one of these other coins are going to overtake Bitcoin. It's possible. And this narrative is logical for anyone to think about. Like, how will Bitcoin maintain its dominance? Should it maintain its dominance? Is another question. Is it necessary for it to maintain its dominance?
Yeah.
That it's enjoyed for so long. I think we should get into that in another video, because I'd like to prepare some resources around that, because I was quite involved in the debate around the scaling of Bitcoin that was going on in 2015, 2016. at that stage, I was on the Bitcoin developers mailing list, and I was watching all of the communications and participating and keeping myself informed. And I wrote some articles about it, explaining it. And I got introduced to this by one of the developers. He didn't really make great shakes about it, but he said to me, look into the phenomenon of induced demand, right? And I did, and I was shocked by what I read. And we should explore that. We should explore that. I can't really do that now because I'm not prepared, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could literally talk for days and days on this one. So,
because that debate went on for years, right, and it created some feuds, and it's what resulted in all of these faults. And what's in that debate is really interesting, and we should explore it in another episode.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've got there's so much content, isn't there, that we're going to cover in the coming weeks. So look,
as we sit here, I'm kind of realizing there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Here comes the. I'm kind of covered, but I might have to move around.
Oh, Van Zandt, before you disappear, we're going to have to we're going to have to give the people what they want and look at some price action and some charts.
Okay, sure. Give me a minute here.
No problem.
Make sure I'm cover. It's a shower because the
sun it looks pretty bright there. God, it looks beautiful there. I can't wait to get over there in a couple of weeks. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, there's some risk. I'm under an umbrella now, but there's some risk because there are monkeys that come around this time of day, and monkeys, they're naughty.
I had a pet monkey when I was living in Thailand. He was cute for a couple of weeks before he started tearing up the place.
Yeah. Little shit.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me. If you can give me the screen, I can go to share and just a second.
Okay.
Show the Bitcoin chart. You think people are really interested in the price, man?
No, they don't give a shit. They want to talk about the tech.
Yeah. So you see the price here. There's a lot to talk about what's going on here, and if somebody is if somebody's new to charts, or they sort of feel that this is they don't know what's going on there, I'll show you what it looks like when it's in its raw state. The pink line that's going across the screen there, cutting through price at certain points. This is called the 200 period moving average, and it's used by most analysts simply because it's considered a stock indicator. If I zoom out of this chart, and in this chart, it's a 4-hour chart, so each candle it shows the price action in 4 hours. We can see that back in March, I'm actually going to zoom it. I don't want to crash our connection because I'm connecting with 3G. Price had fallen back in October in the left of the screen, and November it had crashed from the 200 period moving average after consolidating for the most of 2018. And then it was a slow process of getting back on top of that 200 period moving average, holding support on top of it, and then making the current advance. And the point where we are right now, I'm just going to go back to a more zoomed in view. This is still the 4-hour chart, but now it is closer to the current price action. Back in near the end of June, we hit almost 14,000, and that's the high for this year, right? And since then, prices sort of come down in this sideways motion, not really making new lows, but just hovering around the 200 period moving average, which is now traveling horizontally. So that's the first thing to notice. Many people are talking about, oh my goodness, this is going to crash, and Bitcoin is going to go back to 6,000 or 3,000. There's all kind of ideas about it. My simple response to that kind of comment is that we don't know what price is going to do. The best we can do is to trade whichever side of the 200 period moving average price is on. Right, so it's over and under for the past sort of 2 months. And currently it's finding support again on top of the 200 period moving average right here, which is encouraging, but we don't know if the market can hold it here. I've got two scenarios going forward from here. And to show that, I'm going to switch on the annotations that I drew earlier and just show people some of the technical factors that are influencing my thinking at this stage. Over in the left of the chart there, we've got a corrective structure where Bitcoin sort of started crisscrossing 8,000. It was above it, then below it, above it, below it, and eventually pushed through it, made a new high for the year, and then went into a blow-off sort of rally, where the price went sort of curve upwards, and this is what we call the parabolic advance, right? Now, where this sideways correction happened, we can see that there was a reaction to about 9,400 over here, 9,500. The price came back and touched near 9,500, tried it a second time, couldn't pierce it on this occasion at the end of July, couldn't pierce it at the 15th of August, a few days ago, and then we're now back above the 200 period moving average. So this to me is an indication that the market is not intending to go lower, not just yet. If anything, the market should come back down to this label E that I've drawn here, and this is a very textbook example of an Elliott wave triangle, because you've got 5 waves coming down: A, B, C down to there, D, and then the E wave should come and retest this bottom trend line, the green trend line running diagonally to the bottom right. That's one scenario. What we expect to see after a triangle, because a triangle is known as a continuation pattern, is a continuation of the previous trend. In other words, it should then rapidly advance and go to a new high above this upper green trend line. And these two green trend lines are known as triangle barriers. So this is I think most traders have seen this. I watched Tone and Socrates a few days ago, and they were talking about exactly this pattern. And Socrates, and both Tone and Socrates saying, it's going down, guys, it's going down. I think there's a high chance they're correct, and that we could be dropping lower from current prices back towards 8,000, and then a rapid reversal and back up. However, this structure here has been making higher highs and higher lows, and if it holds support at the 200 period moving average, the pink line, if it holds support there and pushes higher, if it can get above that upper green trend line into the area of this, where I drew this purple circle, magenta colored circle, this is where I'd be interested in taking a trade to the upside, and my clients will be taking the trade with me, because there are some other indicators not shown on this chart that helps us in our decision making. And we actually just got a buy signal, but I told them, be cautious, wait a little bit. Let's wait for this particular area, which is around 11,800, for price to move in there. And once that happens and 12,000 is breached to the upside, I'm interested in going long. Sean, you're a guy that's interested in investing in Bitcoin for the long run. You tend to do your trades in a buy and hold fashion. What are you thinking and feeling right here?
Look, I've got a few comments to make later in the week. Obviously, I'm intrigued to really learn a bit more about the fundamentals behind BACT and the effect that's potentially going to have in the OTC market, which is a space I know quite a bit about. I know some of the bigger players involved there. So I've always had a bit of an insight into who, in fact, is coming into the space outside of the retail market. So look, I'd like to share a few of my thoughts on, I suppose a bigger picture, the fundamentals in our next conversation.
Great. Can I ask you if you
I
know if do we have a date for back? Do we have have they set any kind of date?
23rd of September.
Right.
Yeah. So
23rd.
look, I
Okay.
mean, we obviously haven't seen the market take off on the back of that news, although arguably it's we've had a pretty big movement since the announcement upward, I suppose. But I suspect that was possibly priced in. It's as you well know, it's a very small industry space, whatever word you want to use. Shockingly so, actually, when you've spent a few years here. We all tend to know each other. So look, I think
Sure.
in our next conversation, maybe we could, I'll have a bit of a talk on what I see happening in the OTC space, or the over the counter space. So for people new here, it's where very large trades happen. It's not the retail market that we're maybe talking about here. What worryingly for
Yes.
me, Van Zandt,
The OTC price
yeah,
doesn't affect this part because it's not on the exchanges.
correct.
It has off exchange, so there's no visible effect on price in this exchange chart that we are analyzing and trading. OTC is very interesting, and I look forward to discuss that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, for people watching this content, I think moving forward, some of my concerns are that we're not, in my opinion, and it is just my opinion, I don't think there's a huge amount of retail investment or new people coming into the space. I think a lot of this, I just, if you look at, the Google search trends and so forth, and obviously, running a media, sort of see numbers that come in on the website and so forth. There's not a huge amount of new people coming in. I suspect that is going to happen, especially if the price keeps nudging up. But my concern then would be that we may have some of these larger investors that are going to be selling in to the FOMO or the retail investors, which is going to make it a very precarious time to be trading. And obviously, I think people getting up to speed, on the at least on the basics, and you can go a long way to helping people new to the space, Van Zandt. And I think the content you make with me is very much centered around people that are fairly new. Obviously your talks with Tone and the other guys in the space are a lot more technical. So I think when you're making content with me, you might have to not dumb it down, but we're really, I'm sort of hoping to educate the newbies. So it's great to have your help there.
Fantastic, and that's what we'll do, because the people who've been in the space for a long time, most of us know each other. We talk together. We're aware of each other's opinions and stance and attitude, and the new people coming in really is when you said to me, let's do a show for the new people coming in, I really thought that was a good idea, because it allows us to step out of our echo chambers and actually talk about the things that we've learned and experienced, and share our insight from years of activity in the space. And it's a great idea, and I enjoy the new bloods who are coming in, because they bring a fresh attitude and a new generation, and it's good for everybody. So coming on with this idea that you said, that where are the retailers, where are the new people? Well, many of them are watching our show for sure, and there are also, I think there's a trigger that's going to attract the attention of a lot of people. Right now, I think people are kind of, because we've had 2 months of sideways, and there's a lot of pessimism from the existing analysts, from many analysts saying, we could be going back down to 6,000. It could all turn very ugly soon. I'm seeing these kind of headlines, and I don't actually feel that they're justified right now. I'm not telling people to go out and buy Bitcoin right now, but I'm saying that whether we go down to wave E down here to 8,000 and then bounce up, or whether we're busy attempting that declining trend line in green there, right now. In either case,
Yeah.
once price shoots up above here and into this area above 12,000, it's going to reignite the enthusiasm of retail interest, of institutional interest, and it's going to be the firecracker that pushes Bitcoin higher. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, because we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know where it's going to go. My long-term analysis is that we're probably not in a new bull market right now. So people need to be cautious. But certainly this trade above 12,000 is going to be exciting.
Okay. So look, I'm extremely keen to make some more contact with you as soon as possible. How are you looking in the coming days? When's a convenient time we can let people know we'll be back?
I'll be doing I'll be delivering the workshop every day. My clients are sitting right here having some beers on a Thai afternoon. We'll be doing some work tonight, and I'll be fairly busy every day, but I can certainly make time to make another show from this location before I start moving around the country and meeting you up in Bangkok.
Okay. So what are we today? It's Tuesday. What is it? Tuesday today. So
we're on Tuesday.
How you place Friday, either Fridays or Saturday? That squeeze an hour in at around that time?
Friday, Saturday, my guests are leaving, so that's going to be good in the afternoon.
Yep. Okay.
Saturday afternoon around this time, actually.
Perfect.
How's that for you?
That's perfect. Let's do that. So I think in that show we're obviously we'll have a look at price again, give people some more sort of insight into your thinking about where this market is moving and your trading methodologies. I'd like to have a bit of a chat on some of the fundamentals that I think are important right now for people coming into the space. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. I think I had a list of topics for us to talk about today. We didn't cover any of them, but it's always the case when you and I start chatting, where it just flows.
Yeah. I actually want to find a way of having the show notes somewhere on the screen so that we keep it on track. That we actually cover the things that we were so excited to talk about.
Yeah.
So can we do the induced demand and the block size debate and the possibility that another coin might replace Bitcoin? Can we explore that area in a show?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, do you want to talk about that in the next show, or?
I think we better just attack these topics as they occur to us, and we're hot on them, because many things are going to happen and change that force us to do shows about the current thing.
Okay.
So I think let's plan that for Saturday. If something else doesn't replace it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, let's do that, because obviously we're really making this content for people that are new to the space, and I think obviously they want to have an understanding of where the price is moving and so forth. But I think it's so important to start with the basics, and I think a good show on the block size, these splits in Bitcoin, and how it's happened, why it's happened, and where we see things moving in the future. These are really important things, and I'm excited to be. Obviously last year was a long slog. We're certainly hanging in there during a bear market was tough going. This space is really just starting to heat up now. It's so I made a lot of good friends here. I think my knowledge of the space is so much better than it was a year ago, and it's fantastic to impart a bit of that to people, especially if you're new. So yeah, let's have that conversation in the next show, which we'll look to do this time Saturday.
This time Saturday, that's great. What are you doing for the rest? What will you be doing this afternoon?
I'm actually involved in a social impact fund. So I'm going to go and throw myself in a shower and go and meet these guys. It's pretty. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say you want to jump in the shower and get over there.
I do, yeah. So over the other side of town. So we're sort of out there at the moment talking to venture capitalists and trying to raise some finance for. It's interestingly enough, I met these people at a crypto event that I was talking at, and you know, I gotta say some of the things that I thought blockchain slash crypto were, you know, banking the unbanked and so forth. I just would have thought would be a little further along, and you know, some of these projects that promised a lot. I think we will get there, but it's you know, it's also nice to be working with this fund, social impact fund called Futura.
Yeah.
People want to check that out, fvtura.com. There's some good things happening there, some really good people. Not a crypto project, but we're certainly using the latest technologies and blockchains at the heart of that in a number of the projects. So Vinzen, I'm very, very jealous. My backdrop is a solid white wall. You're sitting there in paradise, so I can't wait to get over and take some.
Yeah, you know, it's surprising how hot it is, man. You know, I'm sitting in there, you can see that there was some rain just now and there's no sunshine right now, but it is just hot and humid.
Oh, really?
You know, you're just sweating all the time. It's great. I love it. That's why I love Thailand. The weather is, the weather is for me.
Well, you better go and throw yourself in a shower as well, and go and look after those clients of yours. Make sure they don't drink too many beers before they start trading.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my friend.
Thanks for the show. That was great.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. It always is talking with you. Appreciate your time.
Okay, then. Bye for now, show. And goodbye, all the viewers. See you the next show.
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much.